gentlemen, it is your host with the biggest nose, JC Courtside, coming at y'all today on October 27th. That's right. It's the first day of the week, and we got to get this week started off hot. Now, mind y'all, we had a lot of games over the weekend, so today's segment is going to be weekend winners and losers with some honorable mentions thrown in and my predictions for games tonight. We had a big weekend over the NBA. So I hope you guys all had fun watching. And if you didn't watch, then consider this your Monday recap of what the weekend has brought y'all. So it's 9 a.m. We are doing these live on YouTube and Twitch. So if you guys are tuning in, be sure to drop a like. It really helps the stream out. And if you guys are listening after the fact on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave a 5-star review with a comment. It really helps your boy out. So be sure to drop a 5-star review, a like, a follow, subscribe. Be sure to come through to the Twitch so you can tune in live. Do all that fun stuff. All right. I say we got nothing left. We got to upgrade our PCs, by the way. We got to get an upgrade on PC. I'm getting some CPU warnings, and we gotta be careful. Now, I say we got nothing left to do except for getting started with the hold on. Okay, I think I'm running into some lag on the YouTube. Hey, YouTube, y'all good? Sorry about that, y'all. I definitely gotta upgrade my streaming PC because it is experiencing some faults there. And if you are on Spotify and Apple and you want some visuals, be sure to tune in onto the Twitch and or YouTube because we do these live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. All right. Well, we got all that stuff out of the way. I say let's just go ahead and get started with today's podcast. And we are starting at the top with my apologies. Wrong screen. There you go. I think we are up and okay, we're not up and running. Okay, something has broke here. My apologies. We are having some technical difficulties right now. Okay. Well, that sucks. I don't know what is happening right now. My apologies, y'all. My apologies. Let's just go ahead and throw that up. That is not the right headline. Let's throw that up there. Okay. I don't know why that didn't work, but we will we'll just roll. My apologies again, guys. Let me go ahead and restart this recording. Cuz yeah, that's fucked. I'm going to go ahead and just restart chat. I'm not going to restart the live on YouTube, but we're just going to go ahead. Sorry, YouTube. At least y'all get the behind the scenes, right? Yes. All right, here we go. I'm going to just restart the intro. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the biggest nose, JC Courtside, coming at you today on October 27th. Very good to see y'all. Be sure to leave a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify podcasts. And if you guys want to catch these live, be sure to tune in on YouTube and or Twitch. We do these live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. All right. We had some technical difficulties, so I had to just restart the recording. Here we go with today's podcast, which is the weekend winners and losers. Winners and losers of this NBA weekend. Now, on the top, we are starting with the San Antonio Spurs being our number one winner of the weekend. Before I get into that, though, I do want to make a quick note at everything that has happened so far in this league. It's just been an absolutely insane season, and it's unfortunate that we've had all this mafia and sports betting stuff get in the way of the actual really good basketball that we're having. I mean, let's just look at the hot dude. We have 12 players in the league already who have scored 40 plus points. Shea with 55, Austin Reeves last night with 51, Aaron Gordon with 50, Luka with 49, Luka with 43, Curry with 42, Jaylen Brown last night getting 41, Anthony Edwards getting 41, Cam Thomas dropping 40 last night, Giannis Antetokounmpo with 40, Victor Wembanyama with 40, Tyrese Maxey with 40. Absolutely unbelievable start to this NBA season. I have never seen scores like this before. Now, I want to start off with the San Antonio Spurs being our number one winner of the weekend. Now, I could just say something cheap and say they're 3-0. I could say that. They're one of the few remaining teams that are undefeated in the league. But I'm not even gonna mention that while I talk about this. Let's look at Victor Wembanyama for the last 2 games. He had 31 points last night, and the night before that, he had 29. Now, he, all things considered, shooting less than 50% last night and then just at 50% the night before. I mean, that's all fine and dandy, right? But I want to look at somebody in particular last night, Dylan Harper. I'm going to say something a bit, it could be a bit overwhelming at first, so just bear with me here. But De'Aaron Fox, and I said this, I think a lot of Spurs super fans said this, De'Aaron Fox is not the point guard of the future of this team. And the Spurs being blessed with Dylan Harper made me, honestly, it made me sort of uncomfortable going into this season. Because as good as De'Aaron Fox is, this is his cap. This is his ceiling. We know De'Aaron Fox's ceiling. Dylan Harper is a rookie dropping 33 points. Now, mind you, on the Brooklyn Nets, but still an NBA team. It doesn't matter what team you can drop these points on. They are still NBA players. De'Aaron Fox is not going to be the point guard of the future. Now, this isn't for me to say, just trade Fox. Let Dylan Harper develop. They could do that. They could. But in my opinion, I think let this season cook. Let De'Aaron Fox come back from injury. Let him go crazy. Maybe they make the playoffs. They could. Maybe they make the playoffs. Maybe they just lock in a play-in and then get into the playoffs afterwards. That's more than fine. The issue at hand here is you want value for De'Aaron Fox. He's got a very big contract that I don't think a lot of teams would trade for unless they truly need a point guard. Now, that's where you start looking at teams like the Houston Rockets, the Dallas Mavericks. They won't do it because they got Kyrie coming back. Actually, who knows? Who knows with Nico Harrison? But I think now in the NBA, we are seeing how truly important a point guard is in the NBA. I think for the last few years, we started to think like, point guard just needs to hit open shots. Point guard just needs to facilitate a little bit. No, the point guard has never been more valuable in this NBA than now. I mean, just imagine a De'Aaron Fox with this Houston Rockets team. They wouldn't be losing any games right now. Now, I don't think De'Aaron Fox is going to come back and be a negative for this team. I don't believe that. I think you could sub out De'Aaron Fox with 6 or 7 minutes left in the first quarter, bring in Dylan Harper, let him cook, see if he's having a good night, and yank him if he's not, and put in De'Aaron Fox. I don't see why you can't play both of them. I mean, defense might be a little lackluster on the perimeter, but you have Victor Wembanyama, the best defensive player that I've ever seen in my entire life. So, in my opinion, bringing in De'Aaron Fox can only increase his value, especially if they have a good year. The Spurs are an easy cop-out by saying that they're the winners of the weekend. But, I mean, just look at their star. 31 points, right? 6 blocks, 14 rebounds, 4 assists. This kid is doing it all. Offensively, defensively, and you're probably going to say it's against the Brooklyn Nets. It doesn't matter, right? But let's just look at the game that they had against the Pelicans, who are, they're better than last year. He still had 29 points. I think 9 blocks. Yeah, 9 blocks. 9 blocks, 11 rebounds. If your star player is getting 9 blocks, let's just be so real. Let's be so real with ourselves here. Luke Kornet has already looked like the steal of the summer. I think every team needs a Luke Kornet. French Vanilla has been going crazy on this team. Now, they're veterans like Harrison Barnes. He's not going to be shooting 2 for 9 often. He's just not going to do that, right? So I wouldn't worry too much about Harrison Barnes not shooting well. Stephon Castle's just trying to get used. Like, I feel like by watching Stephon Castle, he's taking these uncomfortable shots just to get some points on the board. And he does not have to do that, right? It's just so perplexing to me that people are saying they're up against the Brooklyn Nets. It doesn't count. You can look at any game that they've been at they've played this year, and they are still looking the same. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Team is looking absolutely incredible so far. The young talent is through the roof. Dylan Harper fell on their lap. Hell, Victor Wembanyama fell on their lap. He really should be on the Detroit Pistons right now, but nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about that. He should be on the Detroit Pistons right now. Now, that's why my winner of the weekend, my number one winner of the weekend, are the San Antonio Spurs. There's just too much to be excited about with this team. There's way too much to be excited about. I don't think Bismack Biyombo should be getting 11 minutes per game, especially when he's only netting you personal fouls on the box score. I don't think Bismack should be getting that amount of playing time, but it's early in the season, right? There's no sense in tiring your star player. Victor Wembanyama still needs to condition himself. And believe it or not, this is not the best Victor Wembanyama is going to look this year, which is scary to say the least. I mean, just look at this team. And Champagnie, right? Julian Champagnie was such a good player last year, such an underrated athlete, and they got him, and he's playing 31 minutes per game, shooting 4 for 5. The Spurs are my number one winner of the weekend. Shout out to them. They are playing absolutely phenomenal. But that's why I don't know what's wrong with my lower thirds. I got to fix that. If you guys are watching on YouTube and or Twitch, I got to fix the lower thirds. Like I said, I tried getting them to work this morning, but yeah, we just had a weird start. Now, my next winner of the weekend is none other than the Detroit Pistons. Yes, I know, Homer. I know, I'm a Homer, but we got to talk about them because not many people are. We have to talk about them. They are my second winner of the weekend. They very well could have been number one, but I know a lot of my viewers are going to say Homer, right? The Detroit Pistons over the weekend won 2 games. They were 2-0, Friday and yesterday. The Detroit Pistons not only won those 2 games, but they were down by 23 points against the Chicago Bulls, and they came back. They only just lost right at the end of the game. So realistically here, we could be talking about the Pistons being 3-0 if they didn't start that first quarter absolutely awful. I want to mention this weekend for Pistons basketball was a very perplexing one. So, like I said, last Wednesday when the Pistons debuted, they were down by 23 against the Chicago Bulls, who are undefeated. They might never lose a game this year. They might never lose a game. They came back from being down 23 and ended up losing that game against the Bulls. And then against Houston on Friday, in Houston, they just looked entirely different right from the jump. Now, I'm going to say this, and I want you guys to, next time you put the Pistons on League Pass or perhaps watch them tonight on Peacock and NBC against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So far in these 3 games, these teams have done the scouting report on Cade Cunningham more than any player I've seen them do a scouting report on. Cade Cunningham has been being picked. Sorry, let me repeat this. Cade Cunningham has been getting picked up from 90 feet. And they are holding him from 95 feet up to the perimeter. As soon as he gets a screen set, he gets doubled, if not triple team on the wing. Cade Cunningham, and he did it last night, needs to improve on his decision-making and become snappier when that double and triple team comes, because they are doubling and tripling him every time he gets a screen. Cade, had 6 turnovers last night against the Boston Celtics. Cade against the Houston Rockets on Friday had 8 turnovers. 14 turnovers from your star player who was going to be an MVP candidate this year is absolutely disgusting. And part of the reason is his fault. I will say Cade's biggest weakness right now is making that snappier decision. The moment he gets doubled and tripled this year, he needs to make a quick decision and pass out to one of the guys on the perimeter. He was doing it better in the second half last night, but something that you could notice that he does a lot that is all Cade's fault is when he's driving to the hoop, he'll sometimes jump, get caught in the air, and just throw that thing. And most of the time it goes into the opposing team's hands. Now, the reason the Pistons are the winners of the weekend, talking positively about them, is Duncan Robinson really stepped up against the plate. On the plate against the Houston Rockets. He had 17 points. He had He was shot 5 for 9 and he hit 4 threes that night. That was absolutely incredible from Duncan. That is what we need out of Duncan Robinson. Now, I do feel for him because last night as well, he struggled to get open. And that's the issue with the Detroit Pistons. They are a winner of the weekend, but something they need to figure out is what they are going to do to get Duncan Robinson open. I think JB Bickerstaff needs to just rip the playbook right from Eric Spoelstra in Miami and just run those handoffs with Isaiah Stewart or Jalen Duren. Duncan cannot get open. They're going over every single screen. They're doubling him at the perimeter every single time. And when he gets open, it's rare. But when he's open, he's hitting his shots. The main reason the Pistons are the winner of the weekend is because one name and one name only, and it's Ausar Thompson. Now, there's 3 guys on the Pistons right now that have absolutely stood out and looked absolutely incredible. Their names are Ausar Thompson, Ron Holland, and Isaiah Stewart. Ausar Thompson in particular is my pick to win Most Improved Player. At first, I got to admit, I had Amen Thompson being at that number 1 spot for Most Improved. He was leading FanDuel votes in sports betting. I thought it was going to be his twin brother in Houston, Amen Thompson. No, because apparently Amen Thompson didn't really expect teams to be guarding him as heavily as they were. Ausar Thompson, not only, and I hate to compare these twins, it's so hard. Ausar Thompson has left Amen Thompson in the dust as of this year. Amen Thompson shot 9 for 16. He hit a 3, 1 for 3 from deep against the Houston Rockets. He had 19 points, 1 steal, 1 block, 4 assists, 2 rebounds against the Houston Rockets. Last night, he decided to shoot even more. Or I guess not, but 7 for 16 from Ausar Thompson. 7 for 16. Here's the big thing. He was 7 from 8 from the free throw line. 7 for 8. Ausar Thompson. 7 for 8 from the free throw line. Now, to casual fans, that might look completely normal. That might look, hey, he's doing his job. Ausar Thompson in the preseason, I believe, shot 2 or 3 for freaking 14 from the line. About 12 to 15% from the free throw line. Now he's shooting 7 for 8 from the line. Not just that. Ausar Thompson, 21 points, 2 steals, 3 assists, 12 rebounds, double-double. He had a 21-point double-double. Not just that. Last night, Tobias Harris, consistent, 7 for 14, 18 points. He saved the Pistons in the second quarter. Absolutely saved them in the second quarter. Pistons were down. They were down 17. Again, the Detroit Pistons are starting these games off so slow. They were down by 23 against the Chicago Bulls, came back and ended up losing. They were down 6 at the end of the third quarter against the Houston Rockets, came back and won. And now this game, they were down 17 to the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown dropped 40 points. But Tobias Harris had 14 points in the second quarter, saved us. Now, Ron Holland, Isaiah Stewart, and Ausar Thompson. They call Ron Holland and Ausar Thompson 9 to 5. Ausar Thompson's number 9, Ron Holland's number 5. They're going to make everyone work from 9 to 5. That's their thing. And so far, it has stayed true. The moment Ron Holland touched the basketball court last night, and Isaiah Stewart and Ausar Thompson, all of a sudden, the Pistons are diving for loose balls, getting interceptions, running it down the court. Another minor highlight that I want to mention is Javonte Green. Last night he shot 3 for 9, but he came in onto the court from the bench and dropped 3 buckets immediately. So Javonte Green has been a great 3-and-D guy. He's playing 17 minutes a game right now for the Pistons. Now, unfortunately for the Pistons, they have to play their rookie Chaz Lanier, who shot 0 for 2 last night, as well as Dennis Jenkins, their two-way guard that they had last year in the G League. But the Pistons overall right now, I haven't even mentioned the player of the game last night in Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren, the first quarter, had me ripping my hair out. In case you guys don't know, against the Houston Rockets, he got ejected. He shoved Amen Thompson and then he elbowed him in the head. He got ejected in the second quarter against a team that averages 7-footers. And all of a sudden, Jalen Duren came into this game looking like butt. He was horrible. Absolutely horrible from the first quarter. They were attacking him on defense every single time. And Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard and Derek White were getting whatever the hell they wanted. And then in the second quarter, Jalen Duren woke up. Jalen Duren last night had 24 points, 2 blocks, 18 rebounds. Let me say that again. He had a 24-point, 18 rebounds, 2-block game. Isaiah Stewart had 9 points, 2 threes last night, 2 for 2 from deep. But all he does is get him fights. Isaiah Stewart is hitting threes consistently. He's our highest 3-point percentage right now shooter on the team. Detroit Pistons 2-0 over the weekend. That's why they're my second winner of the weekend. I think everybody can see the talent Detroit has. Now, they play tonight against the Cleveland Cavaliers on Peacock and NBC. It's a back-to-back for both teams. The issue, I'd say, with the Pistons is that they're starting games slow. They still don't have enough shooters. Shooting 9 for 34 is not going to cut it against high-shooting teams. And on top of that, they still look sloppy. And it's led by Cade Cunningham. He's still dropping 25 a night. But 6 turnovers, way too much. 8 assists is great, but 6 turnovers is way too much. And I think Cade will fix it. I think Cade will clean his game up. And I truly believe that the Pistons will lock in. It's just a matter of not playing as sloppy as they are. I think what they've realized is insane. I think Jaden Ivey has been incredibly important to this team during the summer. And now that they're without Jaden Ivey, teams know they can press Cade Cunningham 95 feet and just tire him out. And they have no additional ball handler. Where they're running Asar Thompson as the secondary ball handler. But aside from Asar and Cade, there's no other ball handlers on this team. So I think they were really depending on having Jaden Ivey this year. And without him, I mean, they're looking a little bit iffy. They're looking a little bit iffy. Now, next. My last winner of the weekend, before my honorable mention winners, are the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat has been a team that I've always had to debate against because of some viewers of mine in the Twitch stream. Again, guys, we are doing these live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, be sure to drop a like. If you're listening after the fact on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to drop a follow, leave a 5-star review. I've been debating against the Miami Heat for a long time now, over a year, with a couple of my viewers who are predominantly Heat fans. And I've mentioned it in a previous podcast that one of my specific viewers says that the Miami Heat have a range this year of being an 8 seed to a top 3 seed. And I'll admit, I'm still not convinced that they'll be a playoff team. I still don't believe it. I think this team's going to fall into the play-in. They're still without Tyler Hero, and yet they beat the New York Knicks. Right? And I think they they smacked the Grizzlies. Yeah, they smacked the Grizzlies. So far from me watching the Miami Heat, I have realized 3 things. Bam Adebayo still is not shooting efficiently. He needs to clean that up. The second thing I've realized is I thought they would be playing through Davion Mitchell way more this year, as well as Khalil Ware, but they're not. So this is why I guess there's 4 things. Number 3, their transition defense has not been good whatsoever. Turnovers need to be controlled a little bit more, but they are shooting a high percentage from deep, and most of that is because of one name, and his name is Norman Powell. I think what they're doing right now can be sustainable if Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero, once he gets back, can truly show that they are not just all-stars, but one of the best 1-2 punches in the league. Right now, Bam settling for 5 threes and shooting 1 for 5 is not going to cut it. Bam Adebayo needs to be more aggressive. He needs to take smarter shots. And I think when Tyler Hero comes back, you'll see a rejuvenated Bam. Norman Powell's doing everything that we thought that he would do with the Miami Heat. This is prime Norman Powell right now. I did not think, I got to be honest, I must have slept on the Clippers last year. I don't remember Norman Powell getting 12 free throws a night. I don't remember that. Norman Powell going 12 for 12 from the line is going to win you a lot of games. A lot of games. Bam Adebayo is who he is. He's not going to change, but he will shoot more efficiently when Tyler Hero gets back because he'll feel like he won't need to force the issue more. One man that I wanted to really highlight on, I guess there's two. Triple J of the Miami Heat, not Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm talking Jaime Jaquez. I gave up on this guy last year. I fully gave up on Jaquez Jr. Fully gave up. This year, he has looked nothing short of spectacular. And I think it all has to do with Erik Spoelstra. He was not playing him with consistent minutes. He was not playing him with consistent plays being called. Jaquez has looked absolutely incredible this year. How many points he scored last night in the game before? He had 18 last night, and then against the Grizzlies, he had 17 and 10. Like this kid is looking like what we expected him to be. One name that I'm not excited about right now is Kel'el Ware. I thought he was going to have a much bigger presence on this team, especially through the preseason, but they're not really using him a whole lot. 21 minutes per game is not what I thought. Maybe he's exhausted. Maybe his stamina hasn't been built. Andrew Wiggins has been pretty consistent. I feel like Andrew Wiggins is our Tobias Harris for them. Just consistent. Like, if you need a bucket, I got you. Like, the possession is probably going to end with Andrew Wiggins, but it won't be bad. You know what I mean? It won't be bad. I'm actually being told that Ware is dealing with an ankle injury right now. So, hopefully he gets better from that. I knew he didn't look right, so hopefully he gets right. But yeah, Jaime Jaquez shooting 8 for 12. Davion Mitchell getting 9 points last night, and still like they're winning like that just shows how deep this team is. And this is purely a Miami Heat Erik Spoelstra team. I just noticed Kel'el Ware had 19 and 9 against the Grizzlies, but I mean everybody was scoring against them. I do also want to give a special shout out to Simone Fontecchio. Now, give me a second here. That's very hard for me to do. My apologies. I was taking a sip of my drink. That's very hard for me to do, giving props to Simone Fontecchio. But I have to give credit where credit is due. Last year with the Detroit Pistons, he did nothing. I just read through all of his stats from last year. He did nothing. He had more 0 for 4 nights and 1 for 7 nights than he had nights where he hit multiple threes. He's been playing absolutely incredible off the bench for the Miami Heat. I don't know if it's the vitamin D. I don't know if it's the Miami Heat fans. I don't know what it is. But Simone Fontecchio, he's letting that thing fly, and I know Heat fans are in love with him right now. So I hope I hope he continues that role. Now, before I move on, I want to say a name that is very surprising me as of late. I feel like I expected more from Nikola Jovic. I think Jovic needs to get comfortable with this team. And I think without having that guy in Tyler Hero that demands so much gravity, he's struggling. Now, let me explain let me explain this. Cade Cunningham doesn't have another, like, I'm going to create my own shot kind of guy on his team without Jaden Ivey being out, or with him being out. Ausar Thompson is showing that he can, which is incredible. Ausar Thompson has shown that his ball handling, his shooting, his confidence, his overall game has improved. So that is giving Cade a little bit more space so that if Cade is having an off night, Cade can still get open occasionally because they have to guard Ausar Thompson. They can't guard Ausar Thompson. He's too fast, too quick, too strong, too athletic. With the Miami Heat, it's sort of the same. When looking at the Heat, Bam Adebayo draws those double teams whenever he's in the low block, right? Norman Powell's demanding 2 guys on him at the perimeter. Now, insert Tyler Hero onto this team. Davion Mitchell, unfortunately for him, not yet. He's not demanding that gravity from defenders like a Tyler Hero would. I feel like Nikola Jovic will increase his productivity and all his stats across the board the moment Tyler Hero becomes a part of this team again. I don't know if this is going to last all year for the Miami Heat. There's no way they're going to fall out of the play-in. There's no way. Whether or not they can lock in a playoff spot is dependent on whether or not the Magic and Hawks and Raptors truly lock in, which is, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but we do have to talk about those losers of the weekend as well. But the Miami Heat is my third team for winners of the weekend. They won both their games over the weekend. They're looking good. They're beating. They beat a team that they shouldn't have beaten, the New York Knicks, and they took care of business against who was the other team? The Grizzlies. So shout out to Miami Heat. That's why they're my third winner of the weekend. Honestly, they're impressing me. I got to be completely honest here. They are impressing me. I mean, they're 15 deep. That's the Heat culture that they were missing last year. Now, some honorable mentions. I want to give special shout outs to a couple players in particular here. I want to just quickly, Charlotte Hornets. That's why I'm saying this very quickly. I don't want to talk too much about the Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo Ball had an incredible game last night. In case you guys are unaware, LaMelo Ball's hooping, Brandon Miller's hooping, Con Knipple is hooping. Con Knipple, the rookie, dropped 20 points last night. 7 for 12 shooting, 5 for 9 for deep. This guy would save 90% of the teams in the league. Miles Bridges had a nice poster last night, 6 for 16, 22 points. Ryan Kalkbrenner is impressing me every single night. I don't know how Colin Sexton had a flyer on him like this past summer. Why did no team want Colin Sexton balling out of his mind, 20.7 for 10 shooting? This man is who I wanted to talk about mostly for a winner of the weekend. LaMelo Ball, 13 for 25. He hit 5 for 12 threes, right? LaMelo Ball had almost a 40-point triple-double last night. Did you hear me? LaMelo Ball had 38 points, 13 assists, and 13 rebounds on the Charlotte Hornets. Do y'all understand how unbelievable that is? Something I'm just now noticing, my apologies, wholly casual. I did not know Brandon Miller was out for the Charlotte Hornets. I hope he's okay. Was it just a little, was it day to day? Because I haven't heard any issue. With Brandon Miller, so hopefully he gets back. The reason why I don't want to talk too much about the Charlotte Hornets is because I could have did this last year. The Charlotte Hornets, their biggest weakness is staying healthy. We'll talk about the Charlotte Hornets 2 weeks from now, unless they are just still skyrocketing over the next 2 weeks. But 2 weeks from now, I want to talk about the Charlotte Hornets. That's why they're an honorable mention. I don't really want to talk about them because, their track record, right? I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I do not want to get too ahead of myself. One guy I want to talk about very, very quickly as another winner of the weekend is Keyshawn George. I know casual fans are saying, who? Right now. But Keyshawn George, he is averaging over 20 points per game right now. He had 34 points. What is that, on Friday? 34 points. He had 21 against Milwaukee last Wednesday. This guy, Keyshawn George, is a talent and a half. He is a hooper. Last night, I don't know how he only had 6 points. Maybe they read the scouting report. But I really, really like Keyshawn George. Another small shout out to the homie Coward on the Memphis Grizzlies. He's been balling out of his mind. I think that's another bright spot for the Memphis Grizzlies. Those are a couple extra winners of the weekends. Timberwolves took care of business last night. Mavericks got on the board with a win against the Raptors, which leads me into the losers of the weekend. So let's just move on. Those are my honorable mentions for winners of the weekend. Again, if you guys are enjoying, be sure to leave a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple, and be sure to leave a like on the YouTube as well as a subscribe. It would help tremendously. And again, we are doing all of these podcasts live on Twitch and YouTube at 9 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. On to our losers of the week. What is happening to my lower thirds? What is actually happening right now on my lower thirds? I don't know what happened. I got to be honest. If you guys are watching live, my apologies for the technical difficulties. I will make sure everything is up and running. I will make sure everything is up and running tomorrow. I think I just got to upgrade my PC, plain and simple. It's not working as intended. So that's my apologies, ladies and gents. That's my apologies. So just bear with me. I know the visual looks horrible, but yeah, you guys are just going to have to let me rock here. My apologies again. Okay. So, losers of the weekend. I want to start with the Orlando Magic. I thought, let me just say, I thought the Orlando Magic were going to be the 3rd seed. That's what I thought. I thought everyone was telling me The Orlando Magic are going to be the 3rd seed. Now, I know it's early. I understand it's early. This ain't no damn 3rd seed. This ain't no damn 3rd. Did you guys really think that Desmond Bane would improve this team that much? Their half-court offense is one of the worst in the league. One of the worst in the league. You're getting your action from Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. They do this every single night. 7 for 15, 7 for 21. This is every single night. Paolo Banchero now is getting a lot of hate on Twitter, and that's just what happens. That's all I want to say again. Guys, enjoy this moment that everyone is in love with Victor Wembanyama. Enjoy this moment that everyone loves San Antonio and Victor Wembanyama. Because a year from now, once Victor Wembanyama shows that he's a winner, once he shows that he gets foul calls, that he settles for threes and hits most of them, once he shows you that he's a prolific star in the NBA, everyone will turn on him. Do you remember Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the 21-22 season? Everyone loved him. Everyone loved him. There was no foul merchant, no foul baiting. It was, look how talented this guy is. If only his team around him was good. The same exact thing is going to happen to Victor Wembanyama next season when he shows the world how good of a player he is. So I hope you guys are on this. Just enjoy Victor being loved as much as he is right now. Sorry, I got stuck on a tangent right now. The Orlando Magic are my #1 loser of the weekend. Their half-court offense has been absolutely embarrassing. You get the same thing every night from Franz, from Paolo. 7 for 21, 7 for 15. This was the 3rd seed. This was the undisputed 3rd seed on everybody's seedings. They had him over the Pistons. They had him over the Hawks. They had him over the Pacers, the Celtics, the Raptors, the Heat. They had him over every single team, and it was undisputed as well. I feel for Banchero. He should not be getting the hate on Twitter right now. He should not be getting the hate. This is not his fault. Wendell Carter Jr. shooting 1 for 7. What did he shoot the night before against the Hawks? 2 for 4, not bad. Desmond Bane is getting you a consistent 5 to 8 buckets a night. He shot 1 for 7 against the Atlanta Hawks. He shot 7 for 12 against the Chicago Bulls. They thought that getting Desmond Bane would fix all of their issues. They thought, we got a shooter. It's over for the league. The Orlando Magic are facing the same struggles that the Detroit Pistons are facing. Not enough shooting. You shot 3 from 24 from 3, and you think that you're going to be a contender in this NBA? They shot 12% from 3. 12% from 3. They made 3 for 24 threes, and they think they're going to be a contender. I've said it once. I've said it twice. I'm going to say it again. You got to trade Franz Wagner. You got to trade Jalen Suggs. You got to make a decision here. You have to make a decision. Franz Wagner is never going to be able to shoot prolifically from 3. He's been a below 30-point shooter and I know he's young. But you have to make a decision. Jalen Suggs has been absolutely incredible for them this year. I mean, what did he do last night? He didn't play last night. Jalen Suggs did not play last night. They had Tyus Jones starting. My issue with the Orlando Magic is that I don't want to. This is me sounding like a hater talking about trading Franz Wagner this early. But I got to be honest, at this point in time, I don't see Franz and Paolo working out. They're both great, incredible talent. But with Franz not being able to be a real threat from 3, they're half-court off. Bro, 3 for 24 is not an NBA level. That is not going to win you games. Tristan Da Silva is a great player. He shot 3 for 12. Tyus Jones shot 0 for 5. Wendell Carter, 1 for 7. They have no half-court offense at all. They're allowing Desmond Bane to do whatever he wants on the perimeter, but that's not leading to wins. Franz Wagner had 27 against the Atlanta Hawks, 10 for 17. Paolo Banchero had a bad game, 4 for 15, right? Jalen Suggs has been their most consistent player. He has been their most consistent player. I don't know I can tell you what the solution of this Orlando Magic team is. Their solution will be more shooting, more playmaking. Unfortunately, they don't have an athletic big that could also stretch the floor. They don't have any of this. It's just a bunch of guys that can dunk and jump over you. My issue with the Orlando Magic is that they were incredibly overrated going into this season. I've said it countless of times in all of my previous podcasts. The Orlando Magic are the most overhyped team in the league. You're adding Desmond Bane. What else? What else? You got one 3-point shooter. That's why I think the Pistons were somewhat of a lateral move this year, because they lost 3 shooters and they replaced them with 1.5 in Duncan Robinson. You need more shooters. 3 for 24 is not an NBA team. What did they shoot against the Hawks? 9 for 31. I'm not cherry picking here. You can't shoot 12 to 28% as an NBA team from deep. The Orlando Magic are my biggest loser of the weekend, because they'll be a playoff team for sure. As long as everyone stays healthy, they'll be a playoff team. But it was a little bit drastic of me to say they got to trade Franz Wagner. He's too good of a player and too young of a player to just bail on him now. But they need to center around different players here. The Orlando Magic franchise is cursed. This is not going to work. This is not going to work. Desmond Bane is not enough. Jalen Suggs' defense has been absolutely incredible. His offense has been absolutely incredible. I don't know if that's an overreaction or not, but I just don't see the duo of Paolo and Franz. They're just taking turns. Watch Orlando basketball for me, please. Please, please, please just do me a favor. Watch their game of basketball and tell me if that looks like a competent basketball team. It's, okay, you take your shot now. Okay, you take your shot now. Okay, you take your shot now. It's just not working. It's not working. That's why they're my biggest loser of the weekend. Let's talk about our next loser, the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns. I'm not going to dive too deep into the Phoenix Suns. We all know they had low expectations this year. But I have to say this because I haven't seen anybody on Twitter talk about this. Why is Dillon Brooks he's leading the team in field goals attempted? Why is this a thing? Why is Dillon Brooks taking more shots than Devin Booker? 17 shots against the Clippers. 18 shots against the Clippers. Why is Dillon Brooks taking more shots than Devin Booker? Devin Booker, 5 for 10 last night. Why? Oh, he's being guarded heavily? Okay. So what are you going to do to spread this floor a little bit so that Devin Booker can cook? I understand they're missing Jalen Green, but Dillon Brooks being the leading player on the team in shooting shot attempts is not a thing. That is not a thing. There is no reason Devin Booker is only attempting 12 to 15 shots a game. There's no way we're content with that. Devin Booker is in he's in his 9th or 10th year? He needs to be taking 25 to 30 shots every single night. So I know Matt Ishbia is really, really working to try to make this team better. But you know what this team is? It's the Charlotte Hornets of the West. If Devin Booker goes down, there goes their season. If LaMelo Ball goes down, there goes their season. Not just that, it works out even better. They have Mark Williams and Nick Richards as their centers, who, guess what? We're both centers of the Charlotte Hornets. So if you needed any more proving, there's your answer. Shut it down. This is just not going to work. If Colin Gillespie is shooting the same amount of shots, if not more, than Devin Booker, this team has no direction. Why is Dillon Brooks shooting 7 more shots than Devin Booker? Why is Colin Gillespie shooting more shots than Devin Booker? Why is Royce O'Neal shooting more shots than Devin Booker? Why is Grayson Allen shooting more threes and shooting more shots than Devin Booker? Grayson Allen, 4 for 12. Devin Booker, 5 for 10. They extended Devin Booker. I believe he's getting paid, 2 years, $95 million or something? At least he got him. Or $70 million? Yeah, $70 million. They paid him. And now they gotta suffer through this. Yeah. I expect a move next summer. I don't know. Hey, Devin Booker, I mean, you're from Grand Rapids, Michigan. You're from Grand Rapids. We'll see how Jaden Ivey looks when he gets back from injury. I've been saying that for the last 200 some days. I guess almost 300 days, huh? Yeah, 300 days. We'll see, Jaden Ivey. We'll see. All right, man. I don't want to talk too long because I don't know why. I got really pissed off when I was labeling my losers and winners from the weekend. That's why the Phoenix Suns are at number 2. I meant to put them at 3. So just forget that. Just imagine that the Phoenix Suns are at my third loser. I just got really pissed off at the Devin Booker fact. This team is really my second loser of the weekend. It's our one Canadian team in the league, the Toronto Raptors. Oh boy. Another overhyped, overrated team going into the season. And I feel I have to talk about them. And I'm going to say what I said in the podcast prior to the season starting. You have Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, all playing basically the same position. They're all playing basically the same position. Brandon Ingram, you're a good player, man. You shouldn't be on the Raptors, but they paid you before you even played a game for the team. Scotty Barnes, I'm not seeing the improvement. I'm just not. Jakob Poeltl, you're a great snipe. You're a great snipe. RJ Barrett, you're too good of a player right now. I don't understand what is wrong with the front office. I don't understand. This franchise went to hell after they traded OG and Siakam for like nothing. Brandon Ingram's a really good player, but unfortunately, he's stinting Scotty Barnes' growth. Scotty Barnes, I thought, was going to come into this season and just light it up. Now, against the Dallas Mavericks, he took 24 shots, but it didn't matter. I mean, he shot 13 for 24. He dropped 33 points, which is great. So Scotty Barnes is showing you what he can do, but when he's got to share the court with other guys like an RJ Barrett, like a Brandon Ingram, like an Emmanuel Quickley, all same guys who play the same position, who need the ball in their hands to be successful, it's just not working out. I don't see it working. And it sucks because they are moving the ball a lot more, but they dropped both of their games over the weekend. They lost by 10 against the Dallas Mavericks, and they lost against Milwaukee by 6. The Toronto Raptors just have too many players that play the same position, and it's just not working. They owe a lot of money. They have the most expensive team in the league, I think. One of the most expensive teams with zero, like they didn't even play together. How do you pay all of these guys that much money and they haven't played? Toronto Raptors are they spread themselves thin, man. They spent so much money this past summer. Their roster is so expensive. In fact, I am going to look up their roster because I feel as though they might have like the most expensive team in the league. Let's check this out. They have $633 million on their books this season. Or no, sorry, over the next, just of contracts, they have $633 million. This year, they are paying Scotty Barnes $38 million. This year, they are paying Brandon Ingram $38 million. This year, they are paying Emmanuel Quickley $32.5 million. This year, they are paying RJ Barrett $28 million. Jakob Poeltl, $20 million. Their top 5 guys are making this year about $200 million with 0 games played altogether. I don't get it. I truly don't. But this is the hand that they were dealt. What's the ceiling of this team? What's the ceiling? You know, they lost 2. Their salary cap this season is $154 million. I just don't see it. I got to be honest. This vision of the Toronto Raptors, I'm not seeing the best outcome. I don't know what the best outcome for the Toronto Raptors is. Make the playoffs? I mean, the East is so bad, they probably will make the playoffs. People had I didn't want to put the Boston Celtics in the Biggest Losers because this is sort of what they wanted. I guess we can talk. That's really all I have to say about the Toronto Raptors. That's about it. They're just such an expensive team, and with zero things to show for it. You know what I'm saying? I feel for Raptors fans because it's just not. This is not the direction of the team ever since Masai Ujiri left. But hey, this is what's happening. So real quick, I want to talk about the Boston Celtics because they're sort of. I wanted to put them in my losers, but this is sort of what I said that they would be doing. And this isn't like some, I'm Einstein and you guys are all dumb. This is just kind of basic. I mean, we all thought this would happen, right? Looking at the Boston Celtics and thinking that they were going to win 40 some games, I'm pretty confident that's what the over under was, is just asinine. Makes no sense to me. How they could have predicted that they'd win 40 some games with a roster like that. A team starting Hugo, what is his name? I don't want to butcher it or sound racist. Is it Hugo Gonzalez? I think it's Hugo Gonzalez. It is Hugo Gonzalez. All right, sweet. So I'm not racist. So starting Hugo Gonzalez on a team, bro, the Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown is getting his points. And I called it at the beginning of the year. I said that you're going to see Jaylen Brown put up some ridiculous numbers, and he's doing exactly that. He's putting up those numbers. I said Derek White's going to be putting up numbers. I said Peyton Pritchard's going to be putting up these numbers. They all are. They all are. That's not the Boston Celtics issue. Their issue is that they can't get rebounds. They can't outplay. They have no energy. It's like, dude, I'm watching. They were up by 17 against the Pistons last night, and I felt like when we were down 17, we could have went down by 30, and we could have still came back and win because they don't look like they're trying. Now, I said it. I said they should just playfully tank this year. Jaylen Brown plays. Oh, no, I tweaked an ankle. Oh, no, my hairline rubbed off on the opponent's jersey. That has happened twice now, actually. From what I'm seeing right now, I'm not seeing the full vision. I'm just not seeing, I think they should just sit him out. I think, I'm not saying Jaylen Brown should get a catastrophic injury, but let's say something just happens. And I think you should just sit him out overall and think about getting that draft pick. Because the Boston Celtics right now, they're not going to do anything. The Indiana Pacers, unfortunately, aren't doing anything. There's some teams in this league right now that could afford that extra year of what happened to the Golden State Warriors, right? Or for when they got James Wiseman, or think about the San Antonio Spurs when they got Tim Duncan, right? We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Guys, I am so sorry for all the missteps this podcast. I think my stream PC is just croaking right now. I think I do need to go get an upgrade and fix whatever went wrong in today's podcast. So I'm sorry if you guys are listening on Spotify, Apple, or watching on YouTube, because we did have some issues throughout. And we'll be sure to clean it up next time. Again, we do have them live. We are doing these podcasts live on YouTube and Twitch at 9 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. So be sure to check in on those. I don't know if I'll be live tomorrow, but there still will be a podcast. All right. I'm just giving y'all the heads up. Yeah, I got nothing left to say, y'all, except for thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And as always, guys, thank you for watching / listening. Again, my apologies for some of the errors going on the YouTube visuals and the Spotify and Apple. We will get it figured out. We will get it fixed. And yeah, I just appreciate y'all watching and listening, man. Be sure to leave a like, 5-star review, subscribe, follow, all that jazz. Appreciate y'all and have a blessed Monday.